Since it's now after 6 o'clock, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Would stand and join me in pledging allegiance to the flag.
That maybe we can do that. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We need to run. Something to be added to it.
Yes, sir. We're asking to add item C, E, consider I'm on Big Living on Valley Street.
You gotta go shit.
Okay, changes to the agenda. Approval of the second. All in favor? For this now, and at this time, we have an appearance.
Talk.
So how do you want to address this right now? Mr. Dennis Hope.
Oh, I thought you did public comments at the end like the agenda said.
I'm waiting here now.
Okay.
You said it's one, what's at the end? Go.
Oh, they don't? Okay. Dennis Holt, 343 Old Canton Road, just up the road. I work with the Botanical Gardens. I do the East Asian Garden. I encourage you to come by and see what we've been doing lately. I greatly, in that my wife is handicapped and has to use a walker, cane, scooter, I greatly appreciate the enhanced crosswalks that have been put up. However, as a former physics teacher, I'd like to tell you that the yellow lights are not doing really well, because I stood there, pushed the button, and cars went whoosh, 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 because they couldn't see the yellow. And there's also the sign does not say stop for pedestrians and crosswalk. It simply has somebody walking. Okay. But I was tempted, being sarcastic, to step out and see if I could cause a rear end collision, because seriously, I stood there and it went zing, 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 zing. Nobody stopped. I finally had to kind of lean out into the road before somebody noticed, oh, there's somebody in the crosswalk. I really don't believe they were seeing the flashing lights. Those really need to be changed to red, because red means stop. Yellow simply means slow down and caution. And the sign needs to say stop for pedestrians and crosswalk. Again, I appreciate the new signage, but it's ineffective in my position as a science person. Doesn't work. Red lights, please.
Red lights.
No, red lights are not for crosswalks. Crosswalks are done by the federal standards, manual for uniform traffic control devices. And those signs are the exact signs established by the Federal Highway Administration. And that's how they're installed.
It may be, but they're not effective. Not in my position, the way I saw. I mean, I stood there, pushed the button, waited, zing, zing, zing. Nobody stopped. So it may be the standard, but that standard's not working. Thank you.
See,
At least a stop for pedestrians and crosswalks.
to be honest,
Can we do that?
if someone doesn't stop for me, I let them know I don't like it.
I do. I use a possibly different finger.
Give him the whole hand there. Give him.
Okay, Eric, you have announcements?
Yes, sir. April 5th, Barbecue and Brews is back to town. We had the first meeting on that this week. Our folks that live in the old Dawsonville Road community will be happy to know we have altered the way the vendor will be able to lay out. So all Dawsonville Road will have access to downtown. You'll have to use Gerber Street. That little section will still be closed behind the stage. We'll be able to travel north and south on Old Dawsonville. April 23rd will be our Touch a Truck annual event there. May 1st at 5:30 p.m., we will have our budget hearing. May 10th is the garden club plant sale. And May 24th, we look forward to hosting Guardians of the Jukebox back at City Park. So the spring is ramping up.
All these things are on.
The budget hearing isn't yet, but it will be.
All right. Thank you. Okay, council, you received the minutes from our last meeting in February. Any comments or changes? Okay. Second. Second. All in favor? Everybody heard? All right, we'll move now. We have two items of old business to deal with tonight. First one is consider the second reading and changes to zoning code. It has to do with traffic and parking standards. Again, we already had the first reading, but I want to show people here what we're doing.
Yes, this was just an assessment done by planning and zoning. There's been a lot of complaints in our more dense neighborhoods on the amount of available parking. So Chris and his folks have gone through that and come up with a new standard for the more dense developments constructed in the future to have a certain percentage of guest parking depending on the density. So that's in a nutshell what this is. Each level of density has a higher guest parking requirement.
Okay. This is included widening.
Lengthening them, yes.
Yeah, we have a lot of neighborhoods that driveways are short. You're trying to walk on the sidewalk, it's a trucking permit. So that's a big reason why we're going to start requiring longer driveways. So sidewalks on lots. But again, council has approved the first reading of this guy. Promotion. Approved the second. Okay. Motion. Second by Vicky. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. So now, that happens on the second reading. As soon as we approve the second reading, it's in effect. We have another second reading issue right now, and that is reading of the nuisance block tax ordinance. And again, we wrote that.
Yes, sir. I quoted you wrong last month. It is actually an increase of 7 times the millage rate. So we'll have a few here in a minute, but properties that the elected body files a complaint on is in violation of this ordinance, or to request staff to determine if they're in violation of this ordinance. If we go through that, staff determines there is violations, the property owner is put on notice. 12 months following that notice, if the property is not restored to code compliant condition, the elected body then can impose a millage rate up to 7 times higher than the current millage rate to that property. Once that property achieves standard, then the elected body will be required to establish a millage rate of 0.5 or half of the current city millage rate for a maximum period of 4 years. It doesn't have to be 4 years. The thought process is 1 year for $25,000 spent in restoring the property. The next step, if this passes, we go down this road, the next step we will begin working at staff to develop a community redevelopment plan, because should we ever implement this 7 times rate, we can only expend those funds in accordance with the community redevelopment plan. So we need to have the redevelopment plan ready to go in the event we collect funds from this. The goal in this is to never collect a dollar, but to achieve code compliance.
Okay. Now, motion to approve the second. Any other comments or? Council? They're all in favor? Any opposed? Passes, and that's now in effect. So now we're going to new business. We have first 3 items come from what we just approved. So Eric, would you want to explain the bank for 237 Gilbert Ferry Road?
Okay, so for 237 Gilmer Ferry Road, I want, would ask that if this moves forward, that instead of 237 Gilmer Ferry, that we address it is 94N04034, which is the tax map and parcel number. Reason being, our GIS shows this building is 237 Gilmer Ferry Road. The building is posted as 235 Gilbert Ferry Road. So to avoid any conflict in what building we're identifying, we'll identify it by its tax code. This building has already been declared unsafe by the Cherokee County Fire Marshal and by Nova Engineering. This would be a re-notification. The property owner is already under notification of the various code deficiencies. This would be a re-notification to comply with the ordinance that we just adopted to start the 12-month clock ticking.
Okay, so we change the. We take 237 Gilbert Ferry off the buildings.
For safety's sake, it would be in I'll give this to Caitlin so she can have it in the record, but it's 94N is in November 04-034.
Tax number.
Yes.
Okay. At this point, is there a motion to approve this particular property tax ordinance 04934 to approve it to move toward the ordinance. Seconds. Any comments and questions?
I do. The building to the left of the gray building is not included in that.
That's correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
That's on a separate parcel.
Anything else?
It includes that empty lot too, next to it. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
All under the same tax function.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Move forward and then, even though this new ordinance takes a long time
It does.
to get a result. But- Okay, well, the next one, this is the plan for abatement, this is 370 Old King Road. This is Barrett House. It's it is in bad shape.
It's going to be me. Thank you. My glasses.
That's why I left the clock early. Wouldn't bother anybody.
There are any comments on this?
No, this house has been vacant for a long time, and it's in very poor condition.
Well, again, these, these are during the work session. And the truth, we actually discussed these. So, assuming we go ahead and approve adding this particular house to the abatement. Motion do so.
Motion to approve for 370 Old Keeper Road, the abatement.
Second. Okay, any further comments or any comments? All in favor? Rare when somebody opposes it. Thank you. The third item in the business is another complaint for abatements and nuisance at 290 River Street. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this particular location. It's been this position for years. But you want to get a comment on that?
Again, this is just a house that's been vacant for the 25 years I've been with the city. I don't know how long before that, so.
Doesn't even have a meter hooked to it.
Power? No.
Yeah.
No.
Utilities.
Okay, motion to approve this particular 290 River Street.
Motion to approve 290 River Street abatement nuisance.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? I might add that that particular house, when I was a kid, people that lived there, and considered the name for the house. So it's a shame that it's in such bad shape. Again, the streets. Okay, the next item on the new business, consider establishing procedure to receive donations for parks, utility bills. This is something that we put together to let our water and sewer customers have a chance to donate to our parks. And the donations are deducted from taxes. Go ahead and give us an update on that.
Right, what we were talking about, and I understand there may be some proposed changes to it, but, in order to do this, we would need to, establish new bill tiering level, in the utility system. So we're just asking for authorization. We had proposed $1, $5, be whatever limits, the elected body wants to set. Once it's approved, we would do a announcement to the community and do a little campaign to see if folks wanted to, would be strictly voluntary. This isn't an opt-out. This is something that people would have to, in writing, opt into, say, add an additional $1 every month to my water bill, or additional $3, whatever it is, with those monies being fenced only for park improvements.
So we think we'll probably $1, $3 a donation.
That's fine.
Not agreeable. Of course,
I asked if we could keep that transfer wouldn't accommodate that, so that's would be $1, $3, or $5, but
Yeah, save money. I was gonna do 10, but it's okay.
well, maybe some people like me that pay multiple bills. Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Any further discussion?
Well, I will, I'm gonna add to this, this is a way where we can make improvements to our parks without raising taxes. And it'd be like a volunteer option if you wanted to support parks. So this is just another thinking out of the box situation.
I'm gonna tag on to what Vicky said, it is a great opportunity to be able to, because we have a lot of vision that we've worked on for quite some time on our parks and stuff. We're just trying to come up with different ways to implement things that's minimal impact to people, that if they want to take advantage of it, it's tax deductible. Even if you want to just come in and give a donation, we'll take that too. So, but, you know, in the long run, I think it's going to have a huge, hopefully, a huge impact for what we can do.
Okay, well, this, and again, this will be. Tax deductible.
It is.
So
It's,
that might influence certain people to do it. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, when do we think we'll be able to get this underway? Next month?
yeah, I mean, we'll send it out now. We just need written confirmation that we can put in the customer's file so that we have backup that we're adding, you know, whether we're altering their bill. But we can have the rates created by Monday or Tuesday. So
Okay, let's move now to the last new business item. That's the one we had in the agenda. It's a speed limit, raising the speed limit for Valley Street.
yes. Valley Street speed limit change, we are requesting, and I'll let Chief jump in here. We're just requesting to change it from 25 miles an hour to 35 miles per hour. Reason being, we're not currently allowed to use speed detection devices on the roadway, because GDOT won't approve it at 25 miles an hour. And just for general knowledge, we're not allowed to run speed detection anywhere that the Georgia DOT has not approved the street for it to be operated. They check for sight distance, 80th percentile speeds, and move it on to you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you. If you've been on Valley Street and you're going 25 miles an hour, you've probably had somebody pushing you from the backside, because going the speed limit on Valley Street will get you pushed further down the road without using your gas pedal. We went to GDOT because we knew that was an issue. GDOT did a 24-hour study, and the average speed on Valley Street was 38 miles an hour. Now, that told us something. Either A, we got a bunch of speeders, which we did, or B, the speed limit might just be a little too slow. So with GDOT's help, they were able to confirm some of those numbers. What was a little disturbing is 97% of the people going north were doing over 25 miles an hour in the school zone, and 93% of the people going south in the school zone were going over 25 miles an hour in the school zone. So that was a bigger problem that we saw right there. So 93% of the drivers total on Valley Street were going over the 25-mile speed zone just in the school zone. So that was a bigger problem in itself. Valley Street is only 1.03 miles in length. And GDOT's recommendation, they came back to us and said, okay, 85% of your cars are going 38 miles an hour. That's just in the average. So 25 obviously is too slow. So they suggested 40 miles an hour. I said, wait a second. We have a lot of walkers. We have a garden club. We have a fire station. We have a pharmacy. We have a lot of traffic on this roadway. I don't feel comfortable at 40. Can we go 35 miles? Let's round it down. Let's not round it up. They agreed. They said 35 is actually a good, safe speed for people to go. I said, I do not want to be going 35 miles in our school zone. That's crazy. We're not even doing that at 25. And they actually agreed. They said, yes, let's leave it at 25, 35 for the rest of the roadway. So that's what we're proposing. What that does for us, it gives us the ability to go out there, and those that are, we had 4,000 cars that day. Okay. And that 4,000 cars in one day, it was on a Thursday. Okay. 85% of those cars were already doing 38. So we know many more were going faster than that. Matter of fact, the record for that day, we had a 71 going southbound and a 51 going northbound. So what that does, it allows us to go out there and enforce the speed limit at 35 miles an hour, except in the school zone, which will be 25 miles an hour. So it's really easy. You're allowed to go 35 miles an hour, except in the documented signed area of that 500 yards in that school zone, where it's just the way it is right now. It'll stay at 25 in that area in the school zone, and then 35 for the remaining stretch of the roadway. It's pretty simple. All it does is allow us to do the enforcement. Obviously, we know that we don't have 4,000 people that live in the city of Ball Ground. So that tells me that we have a lot of commuters that use it as a cut-through road. So if they're going to use it as a cut-through road, they got two choices. They can obey or they can pay. One or the other. And that's where we're at right now. That's what we're asking for. It's pretty clear and cut and dry. It just gives us the ability to police those that need it. Those of us that are not exceeding the speed limit have nothing to worry about. And it allows us to keep protecting the children at a safe speed.
Question.
Yes.
The 35 miles an hour bill will end at the intersection of Depot and Valley, where I go back down to just 25.
Actually, for confusion purposes, it allowed us to go from Howell Bridge to Gilmer Ferry, nice and clean, 35 the entire way. Doesn't confuse anybody except in the school zone.
But that's only during school.
Correct. Correct. In the summer, in that area, it will not be 25. It will be 35.
It'll be just a time frame in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Afternoon when the lights
Yes, ma'am.
are flashing. Okay.
Unless we change it to during school activity or school hours.
Right.
But as of right now, as it sits, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Except summertime, yes. Yep. That's where we stand.
And Chief, races 35, we're going to use radar. But
Yes, sir. Radar and laser.
you can't see people unless they're seeing.
Well, man, I don't want to give our secrets away now. State, I don't mind telling y'all this. State law requires us to, I don't want to say give a cushion or give it leeway. If you keep it around 10 miles an hour, give or take, at 11, you're going to see some Mr. Holt's right. Sometimes even people don't stop for blue lights, much less yellow lights. So if you go 11 over, you might see some lights. You keep it 10 or less, you're not going to see any lights unless it's the blue lights or GSP. GSP will stop you at 1 over. They have the ability, the law allows GSP to stop you at 1 over. We give I don't use the word cushion or lenience, but if you're 10 or less, you're okay in the city. At 11, you're subject to being stopped. That makes sense? But please don't take advantage of that. We want to be safe. But at 46, you're subject to being stopped and checked. If it's at 35.
I need a motion to, up the speed limit down the street from 25 to 35. Up to speed.
So, there. Stops. Any further comments, discussions? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. And that will carry to the effect. Okay.
After the signs go up, there has to be a 30-day grace period where they can issue warnings and educate, but can't issue citations for 30 days following the new signs.
For new signs still.
I'll order them in the morning. They usually come in pretty quick and we'll get them up. So week and a half, 2 weeks for signs.
Okay, well, that gets us through our new business items. So, let me go to the sheet. Let's hear you just.
Give you some activity for the month of February. We are doing a mock, basically, this is a dry run on our state certification. We have been, Officer Gonzalez has been working very hard to make sure that we're in compliance. We've asked them to pretty much tell us how bad we are. Basically, rip us apart, tell us what we need to work on so we can correct it and be ready for this is kind of like our pre-run. We want to be ready for the state to come in and examine all of our files and we've opened ourselves up for inspection. So we're going through our mock assessment. I want to have everything exposed that we need to correct. We want them to be brutally honest with us and correct everything paperwork wise that we need to correct so we're ready for the state. So that's going very well. We're already starting to make some corrections. It's just some paperwork things and change some verbiage and some language around, making it nice and pretty for the state to come in and look at. Our goal is to have the state on site and have our certification towards the latter part of this year, maybe around August. So we're really excited about that. Things are going really well, going in the right direction. So excited to say that. We already talked about that, so we're really happy about that. It's going to help us out a lot. We had 167 traffic stops I'm really excited that we actually have more warnings and citations. The staff knows that our job is not to pass judgment. Our job is to educate. If we can educate with a warning, then let's do that. If it needs a citation, then issue the citation. So I like the numbers. I actually like seeing more warnings and citations. And again, speeding has been the bigger of them all. Tag violations. I think our top speed on the interstate is either 110 or 101. I know we have 110 out there, and we have a 101 out there. So 575 still seems to be a drag strip for many, but our city court, our judges, and our solicitor have been really making these drivers wish they weren't going over 100 out there. So they're paying it both financially and with state points and everything else. It's cost a lot of money. I know a lot of people ask me what the big deal about marijuana is. Well, let me share a case with you. This is what I like to do. I like to be able to give you guys different things to think about. This is a case, I'm not going to say the gentleman's name. He's an 18-year-old student from high school. And part of his high school activities was he leaves school and he goes to our elementary school and he helps the after-school program. It's part of his grade. He gets paid for it. Well, one night recently when he was leaving Ballground Elementary School, he was stopped by one of your officers. Upon being stopped, the officer smelled some marijuana. Officer took almost 26 grams of marijuana from him with individual baggies and scales. Well, what's the big deal? Well, while he was at school, the marijuana was in his car, along with the baggies, along with the scales. He was an employee of the school, and he was teaching children or working with children after school. To me, that's a big deal. So when you say it's just marijuana, what's the big deal? I ask you, do you want your kids, grandkids, and your friends, family, and relatives being instructed, taught with those that are going to partake, whether it's smoking, distributing, possessing, and all that, around your kids, even if it's just marijuana? That's why we're on patrol. That's why marijuana is still illegal in Georgia. And that's why this agency is still going to enforce it, whether it's by citation, arrest, or both. So that's why I share cases of just marijuana with you guys. It might not seem like a lot on the surface, but when you dig a little bit deeper, marijuana is a gateway drug. I don't care what anybody says. It's where people get their start. That's how other drug histories and how dependency begins. A lot of times it's with marijuana. So I just wanted to share that with you. So when you hear it's just marijuana, think to yourself, is it really just that, or is it something a little bit more? So the officer did a good job with that. The school acted very swiftly. The young man unfortunately lost his job. He's going to lose credits in the class. I wish nothing but good success for the young man later in life. Hopefully he's learned from this and he can move forward. Nothing personal, but we can't have that argument. Not something. I think that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Eric, you want to update us now?
There you go. We closed the month of February with almost 3.66 million cash on hand. You see our utilities fund continues to drop as we have paid a lot of big expenses out of there recently, especially on sewer repairs. Reminder, as always, that I wish we could keep that 749,000 in fire. But we are only a pass-through. We take that. Every dime of that is paid to Cherokee County in our partnership to provide fire services for the city. Revenue and expenses, total revenue for the month was at $595,000 against expenses of $496,000. Year to date, $4,449,000 for revenue and $3,678,000 for expenses. And we're getting ready to close the window on our revenue season. This might be an okay month, but then we're kind of on a diet until October. Administration, we had the planning retreat, a lot of good information out of that this month. Budget prep for city council, it's through the mayor, got a general overview at the retreat, and each of you have a hard copy at your station tonight to take with you. We've scheduled first reading for April 10th. And then, as I said earlier, our public hearing will be in May. Historic preservation, we've delved more into this. Kind of, if it's consensus of council, we will begin advertising to receive resumes to select potential commission members, board members. The Georgia law on this is pretty specific. It'll be hard in our community, really, I think, to find a lot of qualified people. We're looking for people with backgrounds in architecture, people with backgrounds in history and historical preservation. I think we've got that one covered if Ms. Joyner's currently on the committee that's helping put this together. Also engineering. So they really want a diverse group of this, people that are skilled in architecture and history, and then complementing that on the other side with folks with the knowledge of building and construction. We also need to make the decision, and the committee will be meeting soon on that for the recommendation on whether we have a 3-person or 5-person panel. We have to have a minimum of 3. On our capital projects, seems like we always suffer, but the setbacks are becoming smaller. There was an issue. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn on a laser pointer. You see this stream right through here? I had to do a little bit of redesign with the slip lane that we wanted to bring through here. We've had to modify the plans. It was going to run up the cost tremendously because we're going to have to buy a bunch of stream buffer credits to encroach on the stream there. So we've replaced that with a retaining wall and a guardrail so that we can stay out of. As a result of that change, it does not have to go back to the state, but it cost us an extra week to give all the bidders an extra week to factor in the wall, the guardrail, and whatnot. So the bid opening was supposed to be this morning. So now it's next Thursday for the bid opening. On the bypass, we had a great conference call with the staff from Senator Warnock's office that Councilmember Nelson put together. Also followed that with a conference call with Senator Ossoff's staff. Cherokee County has now picked up and taken the lead on this and has submitted this project for us on congressionally directed spending. Is a Cherokee County request supported by the city of Ball Ground is their top priority to both Senators Ossoff, Warnock, and Congress members McCormick and Loudermilk. So we hope by pulling this many people together, also Tyson Foods Governmental Affairs Office is also contacting all 4 of those representatives supporting this request because it helps their freight as they come through town. Mountain Brook Sidewalk Extension, been on a little bit of vacation. I didn't make it out there today, but I understand they did get back to work out there in the area today. Our water line relocation is complete. At least we think it is. They may come back for a little bit more. The request that we submitted for the all-way stop to Cherokee County has received their blessing. As you can see here, what we're proposing is to add 2 more stop signs here at South and North Mountain Brook where it connects across to Old Dawsonville. Make that an all-way stop and then put in a crosswalk so folks from this side of the community can access the sidewalk safely and walk to town. There is some concern because of the decel lane in this area. So we are meeting out there next week with an engineering team to look and see if there's enough room to do like a concrete safety island. Because the fear is that the stop sign, if placed back in this area here on the corner, it's going to be too far out of line of sight of the drivers for them to see it well. Solution to that is we can put up one of the flashing beacons, but the people in that first house, that might be a little annoying, to them with that thing flashing all night. But if we could have a concrete island and kind of separate the deceleration lane from the main lane, then the stop sign could go there and would be more visible to the motorists. So we'll follow up on that. If we have a solution, then we'll bring that request to the elected body next month for an all-way stop and crosswalk. Groover and Civic realignment, they got some cutting done out there today. That should begin in earnest tomorrow. Northridge Road extension, we failed our GDOT inspection for the third time. They only give us one problem at a time instead of all of them. So they keep coming out, but supposedly this is the last one. They pouring new concrete aprons and crosswalk there tomorrow morning. And we'll put in a new crosswalk that'll be back inside, probably about 30 feet off of 372, and come back around so it moves the crosswalk further back. And this time we met with the inspector on site. He has blessed that configuration. So hopefully this will be good to go within a week or so to open. Water and sewer, we talked last month about the manhole rehabilitation that was going on and showed you these photographs here. This was the deteriorated well. This is when they're starting to put it back together. And then this is the finished product. And we were happy to come in under budget. It only ended up costing us $48,000. So these sewer projects are tremendously expensive. But again, as we talked last month, this is the result of water conservation. Everything is low flow. So you have more hydrogen sulfide in the system and it eats everything it gets a hold of, except plastic. Mountain Brook connection, we'll probably see activity within the next 90 days of starting to put in the new water line connection here into the Pulte development. They're going to go ahead. They are pulling a building permit to build a house on that lot. So they're going to stub the water and sewer into their property prior to, and then the construction will follow coming down Jordan Road here with the new water line. We'll connect them on the interior, giving us another purchase point and increasing the pressures in the Mountain Brook community at the higher elevations. On our PFAS services, we talked about this last month as well. We entered the first phase of testing. We got results back from the first one all the way down through here. Every chemical tested for, we're proud to say, was a non-detection. Where you see detection right here, those items are the information dependent acquisitions. Those are the added compounds that they put in our water to see if they can find the other chemicals. So that's something that's inserted, and that's just telling you how much. But we are at 0. So we have a total of 3 more tests that will take place before we can say we have absolutely no problem, but we're off to a good start. The crew conducted training this past month on confined space entry, what it takes to enter a sewer manhole. Sounds easy, you just climb in it, but there's a whole lot more to it than that, from air quality meters and fresh air, and your extraction devices. The first week of April, starting the week of April 7th, we'll have the folks here from Heavy Equipment College of Georgia, and will be conducting training for our team here. We have some new members that we really don't know how much background they have. They can get on equipment and do some things, but bring in the trainers, get them qualified, and it helps us from a safety standpoint as well. We know they've learned what they need to learn on these 3 pieces of equipment. UCMR testing. Results are still not back. This is one we're very anxious to get back. But it's been a month, but we've still not received the results on water. On parks and downtown, really love it when a project comes together like this. Last month we were here and asked for some money, and this month it's done. So that was a huge project that was ready to go and has been tremendously well received by our visitors, but our business community especially. It sees a lot of use. Earlier on the crosswalks, but they are in and installed. General information on downtown, been conducting still the social media classes, still hosting downtown meetings with our merchants, business owners, continuing work on parking assessments. Lighting of the trees has been completed, so they're lit now all the way through town where we have good access to electricity, and it really has made a pop in downtown. And again, something that we've gotten really good feedback on from both visitors and our business community. Sometimes the little things are the fun things. This project, the water department started today. Doesn't look like much of a water department project, but it's water. But they're creating a walking trail. So where they're creating this in Calvin Farmer Park, this is the exact footprint of where the rail bed was for the rail line that ran between the marble plants here in Ball Ground and the quarries in Tate. So there was a dedicated rail line between the two cities, and it ran through Calvin Farmer Park. So this is just a short segment that they're clearing that we can put up a historical marker, and folks will be able to take it from the asphalt trail over to the multi-purpose field, a little bridge across that creek, and connect those two sides. Just another place to walk. It's one of the things our customers have been asking for, is just more walking areas, seating areas, and shade areas. The walking path surface between the old community building parking lot and the bridge is set for resurfacing tomorrow morning. So that'll take place and tie that area back together. As you can see, we had to do a lot of storm drain work there last fall and cleaned up a pretty bad area. So that's been taken care of, and now we'll put the finishing touches on. Community development. These projects are taking some time, still working through on the Pendleton Smith Douglas project, the Gilmer Ferry project, Ball Ground Highway Towns, Cowart Heights. And did Cowart Heights pull, Chris?
I had a conversation with them earlier this week. They are still exploring some options. They're thinking, I think they're probably going back to the drawing.
They had real difficulties in stormwater review, and we're going to end up losing a lot of lots to comply with stormwater standards. So I think they're trying to decide if they can still afford to do the project with losing the number of lots that they need to lose. Community development operations. Several of these are now complete with your votes tonight. The zoning code for parking, the blight and property ordinance. The Parks Committee has seen, and we might want to get out to the entire council, but they did a visit to a number of different cities in our area and really did some comparisons on everything from parking and benching and signage, just what works and what doesn't work. And it was really good work done by the group there. Building permits, there were 7 issued in February. So it's funny, we're at the exact same place we were in February of last year with a total of 13 permits for the year. Again, not much change here. These are all the different projects in different stages of review, and where permits have been approved and are being issued. So some haven't pulled any permits yet. You can see, I guess Malone's Pond is one there. We're up for like 24 permits out of their 66, but Valley Street, we beat that one to death tonight. We are requesting and ask that we look at calendars and I can email out some dates. We have been asked for a public hearing on the denial of an alcohol license. This is for Buddy's Food Mart. I rejected that license, and my decisions are subject to appeal to the elected body. Their attorney has requested that appeal to be made. So we can go through it at that time. The reason that we rejected it was based on their attorney's position is that on our code, distance is the measurement in linear feet from the center of the main public entrance of the proposed premise of a license to the center of the main public entrance of any church, school, college, public housing, alcohol, etc. But that property has several issues. One is the distance to a private residence. That can be overcome by them getting the resident next to them to sign on. But it's within a 150-foot radius. Radius distance is measured differently. Radius is simply from the center of a circle to the perimeter of the circle. That's a straight line. So that house is definitely within the area. The other issue is distance from school and churches. This one's not been tried by law. It does have an opinion of the Attorney General from Georgia. But the law specifies also at the state level, no license shall be issued under the division where the place of business of the applicant is located within a radius distance of 300 feet of any church or within 300 feet of any school grounds. School ground is different than a school building. And I don't have when I read that, I don't have the option of giving a license. I'm not sure. This is one that could end up with having a judge make a decision because the opinion of the Attorney General is not law. It's just an opinion. So we'll see where that goes, but that's the case that their attorney will be coming before you all to make. And that's it.
I say any question where we constantly online, I text, question him constantly. So appreciate you. This time, in the past, we're having work sessions every month. I don't want to bring something new up. At this point in the meeting, but now I don't bring up much because we talk so much in the work sessions. I want to mention that coming up in June is the annual Georgia Business Association annual convention in Savannah. Everybody gets together. And while we're there, we have opportunities for taking courses, training courses, and that, to me, that really helps all of us elected officials getting updated education on a number of things concerning city government. And I want to shock Eric right now and say, I want us to actually come up with a reward offer to people here, elected officials that receive certificates for getting, you get 45 hours, 90 hours, 180 hours, 240 hours patient. But spending that much time in learning, taking courses, I think we should give it a more for doing that, because it does take a lot of time, but it does educate us. My experience is we need to do that. Put forward really some benefit. Shut up. Scott.
wish everybody a safe Patrick's Day this weekend. And really thank everybody for being engaged and wanting to come to the meetings and learn more about the city. Be informed and not just live on the edge of the rumor mills and go on out there and actually hear what the facts are of how our city operates. So thank you for being here.
Okay, spring is right around the corner, so our city is getting ready to pop. You're gonna see a lot of color and activities. Miss Ashley, I know your schedule is super busy. She does a great job as far as in our summer times where when the weather is so pretty. So, thank you very much, Ashley. And, get out and enjoy the weather, except one problem. It's what-
Thank you to all of our city workers that work very, very hard for our residents here. And also there are a lot of representatives from the garden club, including two up here. May 10th, if you know any local businesses, put together a gift basket or a basket that they can raffle off. It helps them raise a bit of money. Dawn and I always do that basket and we'll do it again this year. We're in business, but surely you know somebody. You don't even have to be in ball ground. Don't get some funding.
It's always a very good thing.
Huge.
So appreciate it. Steve?
Just thank you for coming. You gotta stay this way. Everything said, we're always. So thank you for coming.
Let me add that how they do, what I used to do is that just move everybody every month and sit in a different place. So we might consider that. I'm sorry, I'll try to do that. That's.
Thanks for coming. Thanks to the city employees.
And remember to donate on your water bill for that. Parks, that would be a great asset to our city. We would appreciate it once we get it up and running.
Daryl, Mr. Attorney.
No, Mayor, I have nothing to offer this evening. Staff's doing a great job, as always. Keeping you out of trouble.
Okay, at this time, let me ask anybody want to address the council on the issue.
Wanted to ask one question. Sure. I know y'all have done a great job, especially everything you. Speedsters on Old Elson Road, only, they like to run those bumps along there. I know you're putting up the stop sign down at Mountain Brook and all, but I mean, we walk it a lot. I know we got the sidewalks going now, you know, really close to the road. I don't know if there's anything else that y'all can do.
I mean, it's always a challenge. We can be more visible. Definitely do. Absolutely. We can be more visible.
The speed limit here is 25 in the city.
That's part of the problem too, is part of the roadways in the city, then you go into the county. And I'm not gonna say we can patrol our portion. And I don't know if they're speeding on city portion. And I don't wanna give you, I don't wanna say, well, that's the county, gotta talk to them.
Right.
We're not like that. Hopefully by being more visible, being out there a little bit more, it'll slow everybody down. But that's some of the challenges being in the city and in the county. We're very good friends. We got great relationships. I would dare say if I made a phone call, they probably have more police out there than they care to see. So yes, we can definitely be a little more. Absolutely.
Around my property, like they start with parking, you know, parking lot. I don't know, you walk it a lot and there's like.
Original, the agreement.
We've done a little bit of, we had some strategic meetings. You're gonna see us out later.
About that.
It's getting a little warmer.
Right.
We've altered our schedule. Our job is to have the bad guys guess when we're gonna be out there. So we've kind of juggled our schedules around a little bit. So you're gonna see us out a little bit later. Actually, that's one of the areas that definitely we can pay a little attention. Yes, ma'am.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay, anyone else? Well, let me say, appreciate you joining us. We are, I'll say every meeting we have, we're going to have to start thinking about how to get more seats in this, to change.
Still got it.
when we opened City Hall in 2009, we'd have like 3 people here. We all seem to have a report. But now, we're gonna have to get it bigger, more seating. So, we appreciate everybody. And at this point, since I'm looking up at this, now, it's 1 minute after 7 to the clock. I ask everybody to start. It's adjourned. Motion adjourned. All in favor?
Bye.
Okay, thank you for the.